What is on top of the deck? What is on top of the deck? Oh, it's Lightning Helix! Oh my god! Oh my god!
Welcome to Hunt the Week.
Hello everyone and welcome into the show. Welcome on in, each and every one of you colorless artifacts out there. Are you a prototype or do you have on Earth? Either way, you're annoying. What's up with that, huh? All these artifacts, they can't just be colorless, right? They can't just be go on any deck, but they gotta have multiple abilities. Jeez, man, these things, they are crazy, and I hope you are enjoying them, and I hope you're a colorless artifact yourself. Me, I'm a brother, and I am in a war against all things good, evil, and the beyond, and we will continue until we are done. I am your host with the most, your Goku or Go Home, your Don John DeMarco. I'm a one-time Rookie of the League, Strixhaven, my first league. One time won a league, Chaos 2. And one time I made the Mega Draft for Player of the Year. Those are my accolades. And this is Hunt the Week. It's a weekly podcast about a Magic the Gathering tournament. That's right, the Sealed Arena Gauntlet League, and we are in the Brothers War. And oh boy, are we having a good time. It's week 3. We're wrapping up week 3, getting ready to start week 4. And we're in it, man. We're in it. We're having a great time. We're playing some good Magic, and we're opening some busted cards. This is a high power level league. I'm sure you've noticed that. I'm sure you've seen it happening in your games, maybe in some other games that you were able to catch. But there's just so much power everywhere. You got your Worm Coils. You got your... I mean, do you even need to go anymore after Worm Coil? You got your Worm Coil Loops. You got your Helm of the Hosts. Yeah, man, I lost to that card. That wasn't very fun. Your Steel Seraphs. Your City Levelers. You got your... Worm Coils again. They just keep coming back. They come back from the graveyard. They emergency willed back their Worm Coil. And then they got that 6/5 for 7 that just gained 6 life. That thing's super fun. I love that card. Actually, I do like having that card in my deck. Even though I'm not playing green. Or maybe I am now. Let's get to it. I went 2-3 this week. My worst week so far this league. I went from 3-2, 3-2, 2-3. I could have done worse, and hey, it's fine. We're doing fine. I'm switching it up. I'm changing my deck. I was black-red. I might switch to black-green. I haven't really decided yet, actually. I'm still kind of looking at the two and debating which one I want to run. But it was my first, non-winning record in a league week. So I've only got 4 losses left to give. It's very possible I go out next week, though I'm going to try my best not to. Don't want to go 1-4. Man, 3-2, 3-2, 2-3, 1-4. Ooh, I would be sad. That would be a depressing podcast next week. Let's find out. Could tune in next week to see if Goku is still around or not. And I'm having a blast, man. I like this format. I like the league. I'm having a great time. I hope you are too. But let's see how people are doing. Let's get to the prototype.
There he goes. One of God's own prototypes. A high-powered mutant of some kind never even considered for mass production. Too weird to live, and too rare to die.
As I record, it is Thursday at about 5:20 p.m. And this is your top 8. Number 1, Kyle W. Ether Engineer, 12-3. Dan A. Beatdown Bringer, 12-3. Sean S.P. Towrand, 12-3. Got that LMW up, Sean. Good job. Christopher S. Stems, 11-1. Oh, you got some games to play, Stems. Caleb G. Why Not, 11-4. Jordan M. JMtron, 11-4. Cody Race, 10-5. And Zeke W, 10-5. Those are your top 8. And I do have to say, I do have to acknowledge it. Caleb, I've played Caleb a second time. Caleb has beaten me both times. I am invoking my Goku rule, which means that if you go 2-0 against me in a league, I don't play anymore. And nothing against Caleb. I think Caleb's great. Caleb knows I think he's great. I just don't want to feel like I'm feeding wins to someone who is in the top 8. So, Caleb, I'm sorry if we match up again. I will decline. Just so you know, you guys can decline any match you want. You don't have to play every match that comes up. Of course, if you're using the bot, I mean, you're kind of rolling the dice there. But Caleb, we had our fun, right? You beat me a couple times, and no more for you. At least not this league. Happy to play you in the next one, of course. You're a great guy. And let's talk about what's going on in the format, right? We got all these artifacts, and everyone says black red's the best. You know, I've seen some very aggressive decks. Finally, starting to see some aggressive white red decks. Other than that, I think it's black red and green black. Those are the colors you want to play. Please don't play 3 colors. Please don't play 3 colors. I'm seeing it still. I'm still seeing the 3 color decks. I mean, for me to play 3 colors, I would need maybe a dual, like 1 to 3 Evolving Wilds and 1 to 2 Energy Refractors, because I just don't like the fixing in this set, and I don't know. I don't know. But this week we're going to talk Urza versus Mishra packs. That's right. I've actually had some very close choices between these packs myself, and early on, weeks 1 through 3, I think you're mostly taking the Urza packs, right? You're taking the packs that add the most power to your deck, and usually those are going to be the Urza packs, just because you have, you know, the extra artifact slot that can be another rare. And just the artifacts in the set are just fantastic already. So it's easy to slot those into any color. These are 2 tough choices that I had. These are 2 that I turned down, actually. First, Mishra pack. Okay, here's your rare. And it's Kiora Best the Sea God. Okay, now that's 5 blue. It's an enchantment, and it's a saga. And if you haven't played with this card, the card's great. Card is a bomb. It is a game winner. It's like what? First chapter is you make an 8/8 with hexproof. Second chapter is tap all creatures your opponent controls. They don't untap. I don't remember what the third chapter is, but it's a great card. But I wasn't playing blue. If I was in blue, I would have snapped that up because I love that card. But nope, not in blue. So I decided, yeah, I'm not in blue now. I don't think I'm going to be in blue later. If I ever end up in blue, I'm going to be kicking myself. But I didn't take it. Instead, I took the Urza pack. Second Mishra pack, okay? This one was a little more interesting, I think. I opened a Chromatic Ori. Okay, now that's a 7 mana artifact. It says you can spend mana as low as any mana of any color. Taps for 4 colorless, which is actually any color. And then it's 5, tap it. Draw cards equal to the number of colored permanents you control. And I really thought about that one because, you know, you got Power Stones. So you cast that thing for 5 mana, you're up to 9 mana, you know, on turn 5, turn 6. Plus it draws cards, and it's fixes, and it also just adds a lot of mana for all these big artifacts. But I decided, and I told myself, and I think that it's better to be casting just big stuff, right? Just more threats. I'd rather just cast, you know, a 7/7 for 7 with my 7 mana than a 7 mana artifact that taps for mana and can draw cards. And also, tapping to draw cards equal to you know, number of colors on permanents. It's just in this format, I don't think that's it. I just don't think that's it in this format because you've got so many artifacts already. I'm playing a lot of artifacts, and if I don't want to be tapping it for 5 to draw 1. But as we go on, now, weeks 4 through 6, I think those Mishra packs are going to get a lot more interesting because it's going to be, you know, what pack adds the most power to my deck. Early on, your Urza packs, you're getting probably, 2 to 5 cards per pack out of those things. And Mishra, as we go on, if there's just one very powerful card that can make the cut, that might be enough. That might be enough in the next couple of weeks to be like, yeah, these packs are pretty close. This one's got 3 medium cards, but that Mishra pack, it's got that one card that's just, I think, going to push it over the top. So I'm loving this mechanic, by the way. The choose 2 packs, pick one. I think it's a slam dunk, a home run, a field goal, and even a hat trick. Yes, all of those things at once. Caleb, congratulations. You may have picked one of the best mechanics I've seen yet. Really, I really like it, and I don't think I've seen a single complaint about it yet. So really just a fantastic mechanic. I'm having a great league because of it. And I hope you are too, right? It's a community. I hope we're all having a good time, and no one's getting too down. But we have to see how some other people are doing in the league. So let's go ahead and unearth some things.
Looks like it's time for us to unearth a couple things.
This week, I unearthed some things with James T. Revised Island. And I asked for a new player this week. You know, I like to try to get a new player on every league if I can, because I think they have an interesting perspective. I think we can all, you know, get into our, we've all been in this thing a long time. And we all kind of know how this works, and we all kind of know what we're doing. And I think it's very important to get a perspective from someone who doesn't have that kind of longevity, and someone who comes in so we can hear things that are working and things that aren't working, and just get an outsider perspective, right? Because we all know we got problems with week 6, right? We all know when to play your games early and often. We all know about entropy. We all know about this stuff. We do it all the time. But from a new player, I want to know what they're thinking and what they're feeling, and I was able to do just that this week. So let's go ahead and listen to that conversation now. All right, everyone, join me as I unearth some things with none other than James T. Revised Island. Welcome to the show, James.
Thanks for having me.
Hey, thanks for coming on. Great name, by the way, Revised Island. Every time I see that, I just think, oh, this guy knows what he's doing. And it's an older, style, revised. So I got to know, James, when did you start playing Magic?
Yeah, so I actually started in Revised back in grade school, probably 4th grade. And, like all kids that play at that age, we played with our understanding of the rules at the time, which probably weren't perfect. But yeah, it was a really fun time. And, we engaged with the game as best we could at that age. And I have distinct memories of playing off of a single deck. So both players would draw off the same deck. And it was a revised starter deck. So it had, might have been 4th edition. So it had like 20 lands, all 5 types. And then just 40, cards of the 5 colors. So I think there was like 3 mountains in the deck. And then one bird maiden, which was the only flyer in the deck, which was red at the time. So if you drew your mountains and your bird maiden, you're going to win. But it was just a really janky way to play at that age, but a lot of fun.
Did you keep those cards? Do you still have some of those old cards laying around?
I think back about the time, when I started Revised, obviously there's like duels. I don't have any of those cards.
Yeah. Most people don't. Most people like I bring on, they take a break. Did you take a break and come back at some point, or did you play continuously?
Yeah. So I've not played obviously 25 years straight. That'd be a heck of a thing. But we played for 2 or 3 years at a time, and then we'd take a break for 2 or 3 years. So I, played again in college, and then in my mid-20s, and then I kind of picked up various times in my adulthood, but most recently when Arena came out, it's just so easy to play now. And then ever since probably Dominaria, I've been playing, mostly full time, and I don't anticipate putting it down again.
Awesome. Are you mainly a limited player? Is Dominaria kind of the set you think of as like the limited set that kind of got you going, or is there another set that kind of did that for you?
I know that Dominaria is definitely highly regarded by folks that play limited as one of like the quintessential sets. It's not really that to me. I would say the limited set that got me going was at one point when I picked up the game again. It was Born of the Gods. It was the pre-release.
Such a good set. I mean, it wasn't a great set, but that was a good time in Magic. It was
And back then you got Born of the Gods packs and you got Theros packs. So I opened Elspeth Sun's Champion for my Theros packs. I had no idea what a Planeswalker was because, I'd taken years off of the game, but my cousin was like, oh, you want to play that card. So that experience, I forwarded that pre-release after having never played for limited at all or Magic for many years. And from then on, I was like, yeah, this is the kind of Magic I really enjoy, is lower powered, Elspeth aside, but
Elspeth, one of the most broken Planeswalkers.
Right. But I remember that my second favorite card from that pool was just like a 1/5 flyer that could block an extra guy if you paid like a white mana.
Sure,
and,
yeah.
That guy just did work. It helped me get to Elspeth, and I was like, there's no other format like Constructed or anything else where that guy would be able to be that role player. So that made me fall in love with Limited a little bit, where any given day, any card can be, outperform its stats, and Constructed just doesn't give you that.
No, it doesn't. No, I mean, if you're a Constructed fan out there, you're listening to the wrong show. Okay, we talk limited Magic. That's who we are. That's what we do. And let's talk Elspeth. +1, make 3 1/1s. Is it you get the emblem that gives everything +2/+2 flying and vigilance.
Yeah, and if they have a board established, the -3, wipes everything with power.
Kill everything. Greater. That was just, you open that card, and it was so hard to lose in that format. Oh, what a good time for you.
Yeah, make it to 6 mana, you get 3 chump blockers, and then they have a real tough time.
Well, James, I love hearing about your Magic past, but we got to talk about your Magic present. This is a Charles Dickens podcast. I like to go past, present, and we'll talk your Magic future at the end.
Sure, I'll be your Ebenezer.
So you're in. We're all in Brothers War, but not just you, me, other people in the league. That's where we are. You're a new player that's coming in. You're doing great. You're 9-4. You're in the top 16. I didn't know that when I invited you on the show. So congratulations there.
Yeah.
My first question is, where did you hear from the league? How did you find out about us? And how are you enjoying yourself?
Yeah, so I saw one of the Reddit threads. I'm not sure how many subreddits they post in, but I subscribe to a few Magic related ones. So I saw that and I was curious. I've been in other kind of Discord based leagues for other video games that I play at times, and it's always neat. It's neat that you've got content, podcasts and streams and YouTube, and that really makes the experience a lot more fun rather than just firing up arena and playing random people. So yeah, saw that, was excited to try it this time. I got some other people in my universe, cousins and friends that also like Magic. So I was like, I'm going to give this thing a try. And, they're kind of following along with me. Like I show them the packs and like, which one would you choose? So it's been a fun experience so far.
That's so funny. So I was one of those friends. That's how I got hooked in. I knew
Yeah.
someone who was in it, and he would, every time he lost, he was like, "Hey man, I got this pack. What do I add?" And I was like, "What is this thing you're in, where you're like playing people and adding packs, and you play for, there are prizes to play for." It sounded so cool. And I was hooked, man. It's gonna hook you. It's what it does.
Yeah, I mean, this league is basically what I enjoy on steroids. I mean, the 60 cards sealed, it doesn't get more low powered than that because I really like that. And then you can kind of build your deck up over time, so you feel like you're making progress. There's some variance, some randomness involved in what you open, but also, it seems like this league, especially, you've got the 2 choices, which might be new. Is that new?
It's different every league. There's a different mechanic. So that's
Okay.
This league's mechanic is the double packs.
Yeah, I mean that's neat because there's randomness involved in what you open, but you also have some player agency of what you choose to do with the packs.
Yeah.
And then the sideboarding is just awesome compared to 40 card limited. Like you feel like you have really good decisions to make based on what your opponent has. And I play a lot of cube. That's primarily how I engage in person-to-person Magic these days. And in cube, you're opening awesome cards, you're putting together like those busted deck, and you're hardly ever sideboarding because like you're not bringing in disenchant and cutting like your awesome planeswalker to do it. Whereas so far in this league, I felt like every single match I'm looking at that sideboard pretty hard, and I'm bringing in cards specifically to answer things my opponent is doing. So far it's been really enjoyable, absolutely exceeded expectations.
And it's hard to be upset when you're winning, right? Of course, you're doing great, so that doesn't hurt.
Yeah, that certainly colors my perhaps my feelings at this point. Though I think I would appreciate things no matter what, based on the way that the league is set up and how it kind of scratches the itch that I'm really interested in.
I'm really happy to hear you say you like the 60 card thing, because that is a thing that some people have a hard time getting over that barrier, because limited Magic, 40 cards. That's kind of what it always is everywhere, sealed and draft. But this 60 card sealed, which is it's a little different. And if you're not, ready to kind of try that out, it can be a kind of a rough experience.
Yeah, I mean, I think, mentally and emotionally, there's a level that you reach where you understand there's variance involved. You're going to get mana screwed sometimes. You're going to get flooded sometimes. And you just have to roll with it and understand that's part of the game. And that's really kind of what I enjoy about the game too, is there's no other game on the planet where I could face off with an LSV type and have a chance to win. If I'm playing chess against a grandmaster, I will never win. But with Magic, the variance actually gives me a chance. So, when I teach, some of my friends, new players, it's neat for them to know that they could beat me day one. And that often hooks them. So, I appreciate the 60 card just adds more variance. And like I said, there's a lot of knobs for me to turn in terms of deck building and sideboarding where I feel like I have agency in each of the matches and games. So I don't mind, the 60 card format or the variance involved in that.
I'm glad you have that perspective of, you can always win, because a lot of people get real afraid of players who are either doing really well, or maybe people that do really well over multiple leagues. They think that they are really good because they do well. But I think it's good to have that perspective of you can always win, right? You can always have that great draw. They can always get screwed on mana. There's always a chance at that variance that really you could beat anybody.
I think my ignorance probably plays well there because I don't know who the top players are. So I think my, after a few weeks, I guess I'm starting to understand. But I think one of my first games was against Cody Race, and he's
Oh,
just
very good.
another guy. So you fire up and you play, and now I'm looking at the top 20 or 25, and I'm like, I've played 4 or 5, 6 of these guys and done pretty decently. So I guess my ignorance shields me from expectations or being fearful of anybody that's been around for a while, and we'll just see how long I can roll with it.
Well, that's good. Don't look too deep because you might get scared. There are some people in here that have been to multiple pro tours, so the competition is high, right? People are playing good Magic in here. So for you to be doing 9-4, you're playing some good Magic too, my man. You gotta be.
Yeah. I listened to last week with Kyle. Sounds like a really astute player, and it's interesting how many of his ideas, really connected with me, and then some of his recommendations and things. It was like it's like preaching to the choir. So I can definitely tell that there's some talent in the league, and looking forward to getting to know more people.
And I'll tell you, Kyle beat me this week, and it was not fun. His deck is very, very good. I played him twice, and Kyle, man, thanks. This is what always happens, James. I invite someone on the show, and I think like I'm 5 weeks running where I played that person randomly through the LFM bot that week. So watch out. It may happen. I've got a streak going that I would love to break because they keep beating me.
I'm looking forward to it. I'll start scouting your pool and figuring out how I need to answer things.
I mean, I got to ask, you have a bunch of wonderful, great, nice things to say about the league. I love it. Of course, we all love the league. Did you have any frustrations or hardships or, things that weren't super easy to come into that, I don't know, that bothered you or struggled with a bit?
No, at this point, I mean, I'm only 3 weeks into my first league, so everything is working well. I have an appreciation for the bots that allow you to do anonymous matchups and that produce packs, and it seems really streamlined. And I'm just starting to get to know the community and all the other additions, like I said, the podcast and the YouTube streams, etc. So I'm learning about things. I'll say that the fact that set mechanic is choose 2 packs for this one particular league, I think that's a really mechanic that I would favor in the future. If
isn't it cool? It's been great. I can't say enough nice things about it because like some of the last other mechanics we've done, we did a brawl league where it was brawl format, but instead of, you could either pick a pack to open or pick 1 uncommon, 2 common cards to add to your pool just out of all of Arena, and that got insanely broken insanely quickly. What are some other ones we've done? Families where everybody goes into groups. There's like 5 groups that all fight against each other, and whoever gets the most wins in their group, their whole group wins. And there's one head, person on the group, a leader. I was a Don in the Mafia, the SNC League. That was a lot of fun because that's a lot of us versus them stuff. And then it's just SNC packs. The packs weren't anything special. But the 2-pack mechanic, I think, has been it's a home run, and I don't know if they can bring it. You can't bring it back every league, but it's one to keep an eye on because I haven't seen one downside to it, other than maybe the league's a little bit more powerful than usual.
I mean, it's a feel bad when you lose, obviously, but then you get a pack to make your deck better. But I can only imagine the feeling of if you open that pack and it's just got nothing for you. So again, you could open 2 packs and it also has nothing, but at least you get a choice of this nothing versus that nothing. And the packs I've opened so far haven't been great, but at least I can get an extra common that's in this set versus another. And I think that agency, like I said, it can help you feel like you've got some power over the variance and the mana screw at times.
Great job, Caleb. Caleb G, I believe it's his mechanic. You did a great job. Way to go.
Wonderful.
Oh, James, what is your favorite Magic card? I want to learn about you through your favorite Magic card.
I've been thinking about that. Obviously, Elspeth is up there. She kind of got me back into the game, but I gotta say, probably my favorite card, because I was a revised player, is the revised Serra Angel. Is just a beautiful card. The bleached white from revised, it changed in 4th edition. The white changed a little bit, but yeah, I think that's just a solid card. It's an iconic card for me, at least. And Serra Angel still holds up in limited these days. 4/4 flyer with vigilance is still a beating. The art has gotten worse over the years compared to revised, but that's one of the iconic cards that I harken back to in my early days.
It's hard to match that old Magic art. I saw there's like a promo for Terror coming out or maybe it's in the new Dominaria set. I saw a new art for Terror, and I thought, man, this does not look at all like the old Terror art, and that art was so good and so scary.
Yeah, a lot of people they like those, and I do like what they're doing with art these days, giving more options
Yeah, they are doing
for
good.
players. And the cube that we curate and design, it's fun to have alternative arts and full art options, and that's really neat. A way to kind of customize Magic for your taste without changing the mechanics. But yeah, that revised art on the Sarah Angels, just beautiful. I've got several copies.
Oh, that sounds so cool. Yeah, Sarian, what a classic. What a classic match up there with, Shivan Dragon.
Shivan Dragon back in revised, it didn't read +1/+0 until end of turn. It just read +1/+0. So, as a 10-year-old, every time you paid a red mana, it permanently got +1/+0. And then there was a defensive version of that called Stone Gargoyle, which is a 2/2, and you could pay a red mana to get +0/+1. So, I had a lot of 2/11 Stone Gargoyles that were built up permanently, not understanding the rules. I'm not sure whether they errated that or, in fourth edition, they just clarified what that meant. But yeah, that was, example of 10-year-old James engaging with the game and perhaps an ignorant manner, but a lot of fun having 2/11s and, 16/4 or 5s flying around.
Yeah, we all had our own rules back in the day for how the cards work. Because the game is even more complicated than it is now, and the game is complicated now. And a bunch of 10-year-olds trying to. Thank God I don't know anything about mana burn and like the stack. The stack makes sense to me, so I don't know how it used to be.
We had a card. It was a sorcerer. I forget what it was, but it looked like a person. So we were like, this just must be a creature. It didn't have any power or toughness, and I forget how we played it, but like we didn't have a great understanding of the game, and we had nobody that back then nobody played, and anybody that had played for like 6 months. So it's not like you had some guru with 15 years of experience to sit you down and teach you. It was everybody was like the blind leading the blind, and we were all 10. So yeah, it was an adventure.
Well, what a fun time. Magic's heyday. I know Jeremy is our resident grandpa Simpson who tells meandering stories from the old days of Magic, and they're really fun to listen to. If you want to go back, listen to one of my interviews with Jeremy. He's a lot of fun.
Yeah, we'll do. Like I said, I wish I had, a play set of duels from back then, but
who doesn't, right?
What do I know? One time I came back to the game, I think it was around that Theros time. I had opened a box of Onslaught, and I had all these weird lands. They were fetch lands. I didn't quite understand what they did, but I sold them all so I could buy a bunch of Stormbreath Dragons and make a red-green monsters deck for Theros. And, since then I'm like, oh, you stupid. You got all these fetch lands. You just sold them. But yeah, it's fun to evolve in our understanding of Magic and what's good and worth money sometimes.
Hey, that Stormbreath Dragon deck was pretty good. I remember that.
Heck yeah, Polukranos.
Polukranos.
I'm a Timmy at heart sometimes, so that was a fun one.
Well, James, we've kind of touched on it a little bit, but we've been talking about the league. I got to know, what's one thing you would change? And I know you haven't seen a lot of it, but from what you have seen, if there's one thing that you would do differently, what would that thing be?
I having played and kind of anticipated what the future week's going to look like, and not having the ability to play 7 nights a week, I do worry. And I came up with this thought, this worry independently, but I listened to the last podcast and I heard something called the week 6 problem. And I imagine that's lack of being able to find people to play in week 6. Is that correct?
So the week 6 problem is, yes, it's being able to find games to play. Games happen very quickly over the weekend. And if you are waiting till like Tuesday, Wednesday to find games, very hard to find games. 2, people in the top 8 don't necessarily have to play their games, so people can get shut out.
Gotcha.
Which is another interesting problem, because like people don't have to play everybody, especially if it like number 5 doesn't have to play number 2 if they're in the top 8, right? It doesn't really benefit them, although the points can carry over to the mega draft. And also just every deck is incredible in week 6, and like those games are just very hard. Like it's the best decks as tuned as they can be over 6 weeks. So it's also just like it's kind of rough.
So yeah, I got a young family, so I can't play 7 nights a week like perhaps I could in the past. So I do worry a little bit if I do make it that far, that'll be tough. So any solution to that, and I'm sure the great minds of the league and the committee are thinking about that, but that would be certainly welcome.
They've been thinking about it. They've been talking. Things have changed over time. Another issue is there's always some kind of tie break between 8 and 9, which is always some kind of feel bad from someone not making the big tournament. But that's tournament magic, man. What can you do about that?
Yep.
Yeah, week 6, we'll see how it goes. Sometimes week 6 doesn't have a problem, and sometimes week 6 is a discussion, and a lot of people chime in.
And I might not even be involved in week 6. I mean, I was trying to set expectations for myself of, you know, what I wanted to accomplish. And I think initially I was like, I just want to be in the top half of the league, my first go round. And then I was like, maybe I'll try to play 30 games, but looking at the last several leagues, it seems like the people playing 30 games are the top 8 basically. So that seems like a lofty goal. But yeah, if I play into week 5, I think I'd be pretty happy.
I mean, if you can continue the 9-4 trend, you got a pretty good shot at doing it.
Yeah, we'll see. All the games have been, like I said, pretty close and really enjoyable. So try to keep it going.
Awesome. Well, James, before I let you go, I have one more question to ask you. It's the same question that I ask everyone. I got to know, what is your greatest Magic accomplishment? Now, this could be, I opened up a bunch of fetch lands. This could be, I touched a Black Lotus one time. This could be, I played next to LSV at a tournament or something. It doesn't have to be, top 8'd this thing, spiked this pro tour. It's what do you are most proud of as a Magic player?
Yeah, no pro tour experience here or significant competitive experience, but I'll say I'm probably most happy with the cube that my group, my family of friends has curated and put together, because there's nothing better than getting 8 to 10 people, especially with some new people together, drafting for like 6, 7, 8 hours straight. There's just nothing better than the gathering part of Magic, and that's been a really great way to play, and I'm really happy to be able to put that together and have people and host those days.
That's awesome. I love cube. Can you tell me a little bit about your cube? What, like, is there a theme or a style to it, or I don't know?
Yeah.
Describe your cube.
Sure. So a lot of people are familiar with like the MTGO Vintage Cube. It's not that. It doesn't have any power. It doesn't have that fast mana. It doesn't have in the kind of the cube curation world, some of the Discord channels and communities, they talk about quote unquote fair cubes. So there's no Griselbrand reanimation on turn 2 and then the game's over.
Yeah.
It's meat and potatoes, aggro, mid-range control. Now the cards are very good. You know, we're playing Kari Zev, we're playing Ragavan, we're playing the best aggro cards, the best control cards, and mid-range cards, really effective, efficient threats. So you're playing pretty high-powered Magic, but there's no, hey, my opponent opened a Mox and I didn't draw my Lotus and I lost on turn 3 type stuff. So it's more fair than that, but we put a lot of really good cards in it, a lot of really good lands, and it's a really good time.
Awesome. Yeah, that sounds great. I've played Cube a couple times in person, a lot online, and Cube's like as a limited player, that's the kind of thing I can get behind. I always wanted to build a conspiracy cube. I've still saved all my old conspiracy packs I've opened. Maybe one day I'll do it, but I think Cube's just a really interesting and cool thing to do. They do cubes on the server, drafts of them.
Oh yeah.
If you can, I don't know if you have it online somewhere, but I'm sure it's possible you can. I mean, it doesn't. I guess Ragavan stuff aren't on Arena. But Johnny hosts like cube nights where they have like gems they give out for winners and stuff. It's pretty fun. Maybe get that cube in there. I don't know.
Yeah, the my cube is not on Arena fully, but I do have an Arena cube that I curate as well. That we play, digitally. It's much easier to do rather than in person. So yeah, and I'm curating. Brothers has kind of inspired another cube, like a Jeskai artifact cube that I'm trying my hand out. So yeah, that's really the way that I engage with Magic these days, is cube design and playing that. But this league has been certainly refreshing as a new way to do things.
Man, that's awesome. What an interesting thing. I don't know a lot of people that are really into like designing and making cubes, but again, I love cubes, so I think that's really, really cool.
Yeah, enjoy it.
Well, James, I enjoy you coming on the show. Thank you so much for coming on. I really appreciate you making the time for it.
Absolutely, John. It was a great discussion. I'm looking forward to the rest of the league and listening to the podcast from here on out.
Hey man, good luck out there. like I said, you're 9-4. I'll be rooting for it. I love it when new players come in and do well because there can be a lot of established people in the league already. And, this is kind of how you establish yourself, right? You do well, people see your name, you come on the podcast, and then people start talking about, hey, Revised Island makes cubes. You know what this guy is? He's making cubes. And then you make some friends, and you stream some games, and you become a part of the community, which is really just this wonderful thing that we've all built. And it's so great to have you here and to have you be a part of it.
Awesome. I'll try to snipe you with an anonymous challenge this week.
Oh, it's gotta happen. It always happens. I don't know why, Kyle. Why'd you have to play me this week? I didn't even want to do it. Oh, James, again, thank you for coming on the show, man, and good luck in the rest of the league.
Thanks, John. You too.
Oh boy, what a joy. Well, what a wonderful. Okay, so here's the joke. I actually have not recorded that interview yet. As I record on Thursday at 5:20. I'm actually recording with them in about 2 hours, 2.5 hours. But I'll tell you, I'm sure they were great to have on. I'm sure they were wonderful. I haven't had a person on yet that I was like, oh boy, that was kind of a rough one, or man, maybe they shouldn't come back on. Have not had that thought or feeling yet. Every single person that's come on has been extremely nice, extremely kind, and fun to talk to, and just has great opinions about Magic and the game we play. And I know that Revised Island, with a name like Revised Island, this guy is bringing the heat. But I look forward to talking to them, and I hope you enjoyed listening to it. It's a weird in the past, in the future kind of thing going on right now. But that's it, man. That's the league. We're ending week 3. We are starting week 4, and I only got 4 games left, so I may not make it to week 5. I'm going to try my best, and I doubt that I don't. Double negative. I doubt that I don't. I do that I will. I will that I do. I don't know. But I'm going to make it to week 4, and then week 5 will be the classic beat Goku, come on the show week, probably. Unless I get some crazy win streak or terrible lose streak happening. Both very possible if you know my history in the league. Sometimes I run hot, and sometimes, I'm colder than the freezer in January. You know what I mean? But I hope you're doing well, and I hope you're getting hot out there in the league. I hope you're staying warm, and I hope your deck is really running on all the cylinders that it can. Hit up Richard for the games on Monday. They've been super great, super fun to watch. Caleb, Cody, they had a real fun match where they just put 10 of each basic in there and then played. And it stipulated. Cody loves the stipulations, man. Cody loves to make things a little more interesting and a little more fun. And I love him for that, man. Cody's such a nice guy. Such an interesting character, that Cody Race. But hey, I know I'm going to crack some good packs this week. I'm going to be looking at the Mishra and the Urza side, and I hope that I can find some good stuff. And as I record, no one's really been eliminated yet. There's been one elimination and one drop. I'm gonna save off on the eliminated players till next week, just so I can read a lot more than one name and kind of do it all at once. So I'm not forgetting about it. I'm just gonna let it bulk up a bit. But more people will get lost to entropy as we continue. Those lower names. You got to get your games in, and you're probably not. It's Thursday night. You got less than 24 hours. You got to get 5 games in, 3 games in. It's probably not going to happen unless you start basically right now. And if you haven't started, if you're going to start getting your games in, I hope that you get to keep a good 7. And I really hope that shuffler is in your favor, because it's still broken. And I'll see you here next week on the show. Bye, everybody.